What's up, everybody? I'm Gigi of Gigi by Design, here to help you master your mindset so you can design your destiny one thought at a time. Today, we're going to be talking about manifesting a new version of your SP. Now, the first question you should be asking yourself is, did this person lie, cheat, or steal? Did they threaten my safety or someone else's safety in any way? If so, I would strongly reconsidering whether or not you want to allow this person into your life. But on the other hand, I would caution you to reflect on whether this is a pattern of behavior that you've seen throughout your dating history. A lot of times, the initial trauma that we experience cuts the deepest, and if we don't take the time to heal it, it can repeat itself in various ways. Then there's also the issue of whether or not you have underlying self-esteem or self-worth issues, which can allow you to attract and also stick around with someone who may not necessarily be worth your time or respecting you properly. I definitely had my fair share of tumultuous dating experiences, but a lot of that stemmed from traumatic experiences at a young age and just not having the self-awareness to know that I deserved better. So what happened is I wound up repeating those patterns with multiple people and thinking the problem was me. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some bad eggs out there, but a lot of times I think we attract things because they feel comfortable to us, even if they're not healthy. Or maybe we're attracting it because we subconsciously want to heal that initial trauma wound. Now, if this person hasn't lied, cheated, stolen, or threatened your safety in any way, then you need to become extremely aware of the story you're telling about them and assess whether or not you might be dragging the past experiences into the present moment, especially if you want to manifest a new version. If you really want to manifest a new version of your SP, the first thing you need to do is to forgive them and yourself. The number one sign that you might have some underlying resentment in regards to your SP is that you find yourself in cycles over and over and over again. Maybe they're not showing up the right way, maybe they're acting inconsistently, and you find yourself getting frustrated time and time again. That means there's lingering, unaddressed resentment on a subconscious level, and you're allowing some of those past experiences to affect your present moment, which is triggering you. And those little triggers can have a domino effect. Like when you have too many cached cookies in your browser. They start to pile up, the page stops loading unless you take the time to clean them out. The same is true of your trigger. If you don't take stock and learn to let go of your past resentments, they'll be fuel for your next argument. I'll give you an example from my personal life on how carrying past resentments affected my present-day relationship. I had an underlying belief that love wasn't safe. As a result, any perceived threat to my safety would cause me to spiral out, and I would get triggered and feel insecure, and it would cause me to bring up past experiences into the present. What this did is it caused that same version of my SP to keep manifesting over and over and over again and feeding back into the story because I was pulling in experiences from the past into the present moment. That's why it's so important that if you want to manifest a new version, you have to drop the old story. But in order to do so, examine whether or not you have underlying resentments that need to be addressed and forgiven. And that's how you can move forward. Anytime you're reliving that old story, you're taking your SP to court over a crime they already did the time for. Unless it's a direct threat to you or your safety, leave the past in the past where it belongs. Growing up, if you had a parent or guardian who was always assuming the worst of you, how did you react? Did you rebel? Did you act out? Did you resent them? Of course you did. On the flip side, if you had parents that were loving and accepting and were non-judgmental, that allowed you to be the best version of yourself. And the same is true of your SP. If you're continuing to point out their flaws and bringing up past arguments and resentments, it's going to bring out the worst in them. So learn to try and see them in the best possible light. Always assume the best case scenario. Assume the best of them. Assume that they're trying their best because you're trying your best, so why wouldn't they? They're a reflection of you after all. When you manifest a new version of your SP, you're not changing them through external force. You're sitting back and allowing them to become the person you desire, but you need to reinforce that by always assuming the best of them. It's like when you pluck weeds out of the garden. You're making room for the flowers to grow. So pull out that old story, pull out those past resentments, and plant the seeds of forgiveness and love and a hope and appreciation, and that's what's going to flourish. That's why they always say the grass is greener where you water it. And don't try to manipulate the situation either through external force or dropping hints about what you want, because essentially you're limiting the outcome of your manifestation. It's a lose-lose situation. If you tell your SP what you want them to do and they don't do it, again, you're going to be frustrated, resentful, you're going to keep dragging back in that old story over and over again. But on the flip side, if they do live up to your expectation, you don't know if they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart or because you told them to. And then you're going to keep perpetuating that story where they only do what you tell them to do all the time. And who wants to be in that kind of relationship? No one wants to be bossed around. You need to learn how to sit back, relax, and be the best version of yourself so that the best version of them can also shine through. That means don't play into insecurities or jealousy or anger or bringing up all of those things from the past that you might be holding against them. If you can't move past that, then you still have some work to do. You have to get to a neutral place where you can learn to see them in a new light. Otherwise, that old story is just going to keep repeating itself. If you need to have a little mantra to remind yourself, say, I choose to believe in the best version of my SP. I choose to believe they have my best intentions at heart. Stick with that and watch what happens. Now, if you want to take your manifestations to the next level, be sure to check out my Alchemy Academy linked below. It's my new monthly membership community with monthly challenges and bi-monthly coaching calls so you can get your questions answered and get a little extra help along the way. I'm here to help you stay accountable to your goals through habits and self-trust. Take care and happy manifesting.